In this section, we're going to find missing trig angle. So it means that you're going to be given known sides and then an unknown angle theta. So in this section, now you actually have angle theta, and you're trying to set it up in order to find the measure of that angle. So in our first example, we have this triangle. So again, when you're given a triangle, your first thing you need to do is identify your hypotenuse. Here's my right angle. Across from it is the hypotenuse. So my 36 is the hypotenuse. And then looking at this angle theta, we have this side that's 24. It's next to it. So since it's next to it, this will be adjacent. Alright, so we have our information. In order to solve for an unknown angle, all you need to do is two known sides. So in this example, we have 24 and 36. We labeled it. So the 24 is adjacent. The 36 is the hypotenuse. So all I have to do is go here where it has A and H. And the only one that uses A and H is cosine. So I'm going to set it up. Cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Alright, so I'm going to plug it in. Cosine theta is equal to my adjacent, which is 24, over 36. Now, 24 and 36 you can actually simplify because they have a common factor, which in this case is 6. Or we can, besides 6, we can use 12 because 12 can go in 24 and 12 can go in 36. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 12. So cosine theta is equal to 24 divided by 12, that's 2 on the top. 36 divided by 12, that's 3 on the bottom. Alright, now we're almost done. Since we are trying to find missing trig angle, we need to get the angle theta to be by itself. In this case, it's not because it has that cosine. So in order to get angle theta to be by itself, we're going to rewrite it using the inverse function. So since we have cosine, the name of it will be inverse cosine. So what it means is that it's going to be cosine of -1, and then what's going to happen is whatever it equals to will be inside the parenthesis, so 2 over 3 equal to angle theta. So that's what we have, and that will be our final answer. Because I was able to get angle theta to be by itself. So all I did to go from this to this was I rewrote cosine with the -1, and then what it equaled originally, I put it inside a parenthesis, and I move angle theta to the other side. So that's all you have to do. Rewrite it using the inverse function. Since I'm using cosine, the inverse is cosine -1. Whatever it equals to, I put inside the parenthesis, and then I have angle theta on the other side of the equal sign. So that's all we have to do. And again, this example used inverse cosine. In the second example, we have this triangle with two known sides, 15 and 20, and unknown angle theta. So again, first thing to do, identify your hypotenuse. So across from my right angle is the hypotenuse. So 20 is the hypotenuse. And then, according to this angle theta, 15 is across. So 15 would be my opposite. Now looking at my SOHCAHTOA, the only trig function that has opposite and hypotenuse, meaning OH, is sine. So I'm going to set up my sine function. So sine is sine theta equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Alright, so I'm going to plug in my opposite and my hypotenuse. So sine theta is equal to, my opposite is 15, so 15 will be on the top, and my hypotenuse is 20. Now looking at that fraction, 15 over 20, I can't divide into a whole number, but I can simplify because there is a common factor. Between 15 and 20, I can divide the top and bottom by 5. So when I simplify the fraction, it will be sine theta equal to 15 divided by 5 will be 3, 20 divided by 5, which will be 4. Now we are almost done. Again, since we're solving for missing trig angle, we need to get angle theta to be by itself, but it has sine. So what we're going to do is use the inverse sine. So I'm going to write right here, inverse sine. So inverse sine, and all we're going to do is I'm going to write it as sine -1 inside the parenthesis what it equals to originally, 3 over 4 equal to angle theta. So again, just like the same process from the last example, all I did for the inverse of sine, I wrote sine of -1, whatever it originally equal to, so since it equal to 3/4 or 3 over 4, I'll put that inside the parenthesis, and then all I did was move angle theta to the other side of the equal sign. So since angle theta is by itself, this is what the answer is. And if you were to use a calculator, all you have to do is simply plug in sine of -1 parenthesis 3 over 4 close parenthesis. Now if you're using the inverse function, make sure it has that -1. But all you have to do is just set it up so theta is equal to sine of -1 of 3 over 4. So that's all you have to do. So to review, plug in opposite hypotenuse, simplify the fraction. Since I'm looking for angle theta, I use inverse sine. So all I did was rewrote it as sine to the -1, whatever it equals to. So since it equals to 3 over 4, I'll put it inside the parenthesis, and then I move angle theta to the other side of the equal sign. And then that's all we have to do for this example.